Greetings, everyone. It's me again, Mark Anthony Kopernicki, with another installment of Inspirational Albums. Um, this is episode 2. The first one was on Yes, Fragile, and it went so well that gave me the proper motivation to continue. And I guess what I'm going to plan from here on in is probably to do one a week. That's my plan, but sometimes being a musician and how time can be used up in many other things, that may not always happen, but that is my plan in general. Thank you to all the people that made comments. Actually, I had one person who did make a comment on my Facebook page, and most people seem to message me on Facebook in the actual messenger, which is cool by me. I don't mind if you want to do it that way and chit chat, and I'm all cool with that. So yeah, thank you, and a big shout out goes out to my friend Matt, who actually left a comment on the Facebook page. And yeah, this is to answer your question. When's the next one going to be? You asked when the next episode would be. It's right now. And this week's inspirational record is by a band that I'm sure everybody who knows me well enough will not be surprised to see the band, but they might be surprised to see what album I chose. And it is This Beauty. Good zoom in on that. It is Rush Fly By Night, which is the band's second album. First album with Neil Peart on drums. Get that in there. Actually, I think in the beginning credits there was a better picture of it, but in any case, there it is. As you can see, produced by Rush and Terry Brown. The second team up on record for those two. I guess if you want, I can do the little open up there for people who've never seen this. Oh, that looks great. Oh, there we go. Stupid light. Like I said, I'm not too used to this whole thing yet, but should be a decent picture there of them. And they're all their younger day glory. Alright. So, a little back history on it. This album was actually recorded in January of 74, I believe, yep, and released in the following month. This is back in the time when records were recorded and released at rather brisk pace. None of this, record it and wait 7 months for record companies to do, all this promoing and so on and so forth, or, recording a record and being ninth in line to be released because, Madonna and all these other people are doing records, so they get precedence first. Back then, it was record it and get it out there and get back on the road, which is exactly what happened with Rush. And, like I said before, most people are probably wondering why I picked this record. I mean, with all the other records that Rush did, namely like, Moving Pictures or 2112 or big, huge records like that. But, again, being inspirational albums, for me, this record was very inspirational, in fact. I mean, and I guess it was also very inspirational for people at the time too, considering that in March 75, Rush actually won one of its very first Junos for being most promising group that year for the release of Fly By Night. So it can't be all that bad a record. We'll go through it kind of quickly, track by track, and more importantly, explain why it's inspirational to me. I remember seeing this record in record stores when I was younger, and what caught me was the cover. I mean, how can you miss that blue cover with that owl? I mean, it just kind of stands out, and that's what I think most good record covers should do, is kind of stand out and catch the person's attention to kind of, say, hey, what the heck is this, and pick it up and turn it around and investigate, and might even, wow, maybe even buy it. That's what people used to do back then. Actually go out and buy things, like buy records, not go online, and don't even get me started with that. In any case, yeah, so I was very interested in this record. I believe my older sister Jane might have even had this record, but in any case, I do remember getting a hold of it, putting it on the record player, and more importantly, while I put it on the record player, I put on the headphones. Now, this is one of those records that when you hear people talk about headphone albums, this is one of them. And boy, was I ever in for a shock. I mean, you gotta understand, this is, second record Rush. First one with Neil on drums. So they had definitely something to prove. Well, he had something to prove for sure. So um, the music is very much a mix of two worlds, where the whole Led Zeppelin influence from the first record is still present, and now more importantly, they really stepped into the whole prog world of stuff now with this record, with some longer songs, some stretched out sort of arrangements and stuff like that, and yeah, it's a just phenomenal record. I mean, to check it out, the first track being Anthem. It's also speaking of that song, it's also the record where Neil was given the great task of writing lyrics for the band. Now, this is one of the rare records where Neil doesn't write all the lyrics. There is a Geddy Lee lyric on here, and I'm not sure if Alex has anything in here, but I'm sure there's a couple of Geddy Lee lyrics on this record. I know Best I Can is one of them, and yeah, I'm pretty sure there might be another one on here too. But it is different from the usual, Lifeson Lee music and lyrics by Peart sort of compositional thing. It's very different. I think there might even be a couple of songs on here where it's just Alex on music and Neil with lyrics. Yeah, so Anthem is definitely inspired by Ayn Rand from the book of the same title. But the song is just, wow, like open fire. It's just, a heavy metal extravaganza from beginning to end. And it definitely has a few things in here that throughout the record consistent, which is Alex Lifeson's lead tone is one of the things that really caught my ear. And this song and the one after it, Best I Can, he has just such a awesome wah sound, using the whole wah pedal thing. Just he gets such a great lead sound. Just I immediately was taken by it and was like, blown away by how it sounded. And it was one of those things that made me want to go out and buy a wah and start using it as I got older and into music. Also, another thing to make mention of this record is I think for me at least, it has my favorite Geddy Lee voice in terms of tone and pitch. I mean, sure, he was 21, I think, at this point, or 22, so, he could hit, every single frequency known to man probably at this point. And I just think that he sang great. It sounded awesome, and really made itself apparent in songs like Best I Can, Beneath, Between, and Behind, which is not exactly a long song, both of them. Best I Can is also a throwback to the first album. Excuse me. And anybody who's seen the Behind the Lightest, or is it that documentary that came out by Rush not long ago? They had a bonus disc on there, and they had some live performances. And I think Best I Can might have actually been on there when they still even had John Rutsey. So this is a song that in its early stages, it sort of sounded like that, but when Neil got it, it just, wow, he just, turned it into quite the rocker. Lots of double kick and drum fills all over the place, something that John Rutsey just really didn't do in this song. But the standout songs on here for me, besides, everyone's going to go with the obvious, it's Fly By Night, the single, which is really not really the song that, does it for me on this album. There are two songs on here that kind of do it for me. Besides, like I said, Anthem's awesome, Best I Can's awesome, but Bytorn the Snow Dog is definitely one that I love. It's long, it's proggy, it's broken into like 4 parts. I mean, on headphones when you listen to this, it really takes you away. The lyrics, yeah, they're a bit tacky, kind of fantasy-ish kind of thing, but the music was just unbelievable, and it's still, I think, a crowd favorite. I mean, whenever they play little hints of it, the crowd goes crazy live, and for good reason. It's such a great song. And I mean, even Reckon With One, my band is guilty of throwing it into our set sometimes. I remember we were doing an instrumental a few times live that we had called Clinically Dead, and in one of the parts where our drummer Jerry at that time would do a little drum fill, and we would break in from that drum fill into like the one little section of Bytorn the Snow Dog before it breaks down to the quiet part with all the drum fills and stuff like that. So, we were definitely influenced by that song for sure. And again, great Geddy vocals and playing, and it's just what more can you say about such a great song like that? And the other song, funny enough for some people, would be that I like is "In the End." It's very mellow, very simple song, nothing too hard. I think it's like 4 chords throughout the whole song, maybe 5. Sorry, this is Rush, and yeah, it's just the mood of the song is just great. Geddy sings it phenomenally, and geez, I don't know. I mean, it's just a great song, and I love the way that it ends on album, where he has like that little old chime tree, and just rings at the end, and it just seems to ring out. Especially on vinyl, it was interesting because they would let it ring out, and it would ring out right until the needle got right to the end of the record, and then bloop, it would just come up and go right off. I thought it was kind of cool. Back in the days of vinyl, you could do kind of neat things like that. I mean, on CD they did the same thing pretty much, but the CD would just end. In any case, yeah, that's the whole record pretty much. I mean, I skipped over 2 songs, "Making Memories" and "Rivendell," for sort of good reason, because they're not really much to talk about. Rivendell being like a 5-minute snoozer with Geddy Lee playing classical guitar and singing. I mean, sorry, it's not really much for me. And "Making Memories" is just sort of like a acoustic campfire song with drums, and just kind of reminiscing about being on the road and missing family, I suppose. Doesn't do much for me, that song in general, but yeah, every record can't be perfect top to bottom. There's always got to be something that's a little questionable. But overall, this record definitely had impact on me. It definitely wanted me start playing guitar and doing stuff, and just my love of Rush increased with this record. And yeah, I highly recommend it. If you don't have any Rush records and you want to start somewhere, I say this is definitely one to start with. Again, Fly By Night. I'm sure you can still get it at most record stores. I'm sure you can get it on iTunes for all you people who do that sort of iTunes business. And yeah, so that's the conclusion of this week's Inspirational Records. I'm glad that you joined in and checked it out. If you want to go and check out some of my back ones, well, there's only one so far. It's at www.youtube.com/reckonwith1, and there's other ones there, and there will be more, since every week I will be doing more of these. And also check out our band updates. There will be some more stuff coming up, and there's always interesting things there to check out. And there's also band stuff, songs and various clips from us in the studio, all kinds of interesting goodies. And you want to see them. There we go. I'll get used to this camera one day. Yeah, so that's it. So on behalf of myself and I guess from the rest of the guys in RWO, hope everybody out there is doing well. Leave your comments. www.facebook.com/reckonwith1 if you want some more band related stuff. And yeah, so remember, a world without music would be a very sad world indeed. Take care. Bye.